talks about the Jewish people, and he says they are Israelites. If he had talked to people who were rooted in what we call today the Old Testament, at that time they called them Moses and the prophets and the writings, and today in Hebrew we say in short the Tanakh. So if Paul had talked to the Jewish people, he could have saved the verses 4 and 5 in Romans 9. He would have had no need to write this list that is now following. But because the believers in the Church of Rome were mostly non-Jews, he had to explain to them what does it mean that they are Israelites. And what he does now is he throws at them short words and explains to them the riches of Israel. So the first expression is the Greek word, to them belongs the hiothesia. It's a very interesting word because today, in today's Greek, it means adoption. And I actually believe that the Apostle Paul has found this word or constructed it by himself, and everybody understands him, even though it does not appear in the literature before the New Testament. It does not appear in any non-Pauline context, and also in later literature it mostly appears in the early church fathers or so if they quote Paul. So it basically means that to the Israelite belongs, and I now try to transfer that into English, the position of a son. First of all, this word, it's very clear, it's only used for God's relationship with Israel or then later on with the church. It's a gift of God. It starts from God. Just think of it. If you think of a father-son relationship, a son never chose his father, but the father always did something to get a son. So it's basically the father's fault that he has a son, if I say it like that, yeah? So it's not a condition, it's not a state of the Israelites, it's not a mindset, it's not an attitude of them towards God, but it's an attitude that God has towards them. God is the father of Israel, and this means that Israel has a right to inherit. It also means that he chastises and reprimands them, that he, the Bible says that, is jealous for his firstborn. For example, he tells Pharaoh through Moses that Israel is my firstborn son, and I command you to let my son go, that he shall serve me. And if you refuse to do it, Pharaoh, I will kill your firstborn son. So this word, position of a son, shows a special devotion and attention, a unique access that these people have to the Creator. But it also shows a special expectation that is linked to it. And from the very beginning, he says, I want to have that son to serve me. So the position of a son also includes then a certain obligation. For example, God tells the people of Israel, you shall not cut yourselves, nor make any boldness between your eyes for the dead, for you are a holy nation for the Lord your God. The Lord has chosen you. Not you have chosen the Lord, but the Lord has chosen you to be a peculiar people for himself from all the nations that are upon the earth. This word that Paul uses here, hiothesia, appears 5 times in the New Testament, in the writings of Paul. And if I have I worked originally with a Luther Bible, and if I opened it, of these 5 times, I had 3 times on one page. And I want to show you something. If you just follow this one word, it's first used by Paul in his letter to Romans. It's used in Romans 8. And it says there, those who are led by God's Spirit, they are God's children. he talks about the believers in Yeshua. And he says, for you did not receive a spirit of slavery to fall back into fear, but you have received the spirit, and now it's been translated, of adoption as sons, by whom we cry. And it's interesting, now he falls back into Hebrew, into Aramaic language, by whom you cry, Abba, Father. So we have the spirit of the position of a son. And that spirit speaks Hebrew. And even if Paul writes Greek, makes him cry out Hebrew. In verse 23, it appears a second time. Listen to this. It says there, and I start with verse 22. It says there, for we know that the whole creation has been groaning together in the pains of childbirth until now, and not only the creation, but we ourselves who have the first fruits of the Spirit groan inwardly as we, now listen exactly and take literal what Paul says, as we wait eagerly for the hiothesia, for the position as sons, or adoption as sons, the redemption of our bodies. I want to convey here one observation, and it's just simply from the text. We have the spirit of adoption, position of sons, hiothesia in Greek. We are waiting, we are longing to see the hiothesia, the adoption, the position of sons. And in the same breath, Paul says, and Israel has it.